I was gonna dress up like the Joker for this video, but the green hair dye that I bought didn't work, and without that, I don't really look like the Joker. I look more like a member of an emo rock band, but not a cool one. I look like an off-brand Joker. Like, I look like I should be like, I'm like the Laugher, or like the Goofball or something. But whatever, I'm doing the review anyways, so let's just get to it. Alright. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out about this movie is that it's incredibly ugly, and that is thanks to the color grading. Every single scene in this movie has either an ugly yellow tint, an ugly green tint, or is just really gray and muted. It's almost impressive how ugly this movie is, because this is a $175 million film, and it looks worse than a home movie. Take this scene for example. In this scene, Joker and Harley Quinn are swimming in a vat of acid with bright red and blue liquid swirling around in it. This image should stand out visually, but instead the colors are so muted that an otherwise decent shot is ruined. So after we're introduced to Deadshot and Harley Quinn, we go to a scene where Amanda Waller explains what the Suicide Squad is and who all the members are. This would be perfectly fine if they didn't just use the scene as an excuse to shove in a bunch of lazy exposition. So each member of the squad is introduced with a certain amount of explanation that is decided on by how important they are to the film. They make it so blatantly obvious that this is what they're doing to the point where they don't even introduce Slipknot because he's only in the movie to die. Harley Quinn's entire backstory is explained, Deadshot's motivation and moral conflict, which is the whole setup for his character arc, is revealed, but Killer Croc only gets one line of explanation as to who he is.
He looked like a monster, so they treated him like a monster.
But then there's El Diablo, who does have an important backstory, but they don't tell it to us here because they actually found a way to tell us in the movie. But they couldn't find a way to do that with Harley or Deadshot, so they just got it out of the way in the laziest way possible. You may or may not know that this film had a lot of reshoots in order to lighten the tone, and I think this is the most obvious example of that. The thing that affects the movie the most is the music, but this is the most obvious. They literally just took a normal image and threw bright colors onto it. Now there are many reasons that this doesn't work. One of the reasons is that it just doesn't fit the style of the rest of the movie. But I think the biggest reason is that once again, the scene is otherwise visually terrible. By throwing cool looking text onto the screen, all they're really doing is accentuating how ugly the footage looks otherwise. Here's a really mean analogy that I came up with. Footage without color grading is like a face without makeup. Now it may look perfectly fine, but it'll look a lot better if you put the makeup on or do the color grading. But if you do a bad makeup job or a bad color grading job, you can't just throw glitter or neon text on and expect that to work. If anything, that'll just make it worse. Yeah, that whole analogy was just so I could do that bit where I throw glitter onto my face. Not worth it. I feel like an idiot. I look like an idiot, and I am an idiot. So something is happening in the train station in like Central City or whatever, and Amanda Waller just sends a bunch of soldiers in the Enchantress, who is an evil witch who is possessing the body of June Moon, who is Rick Flag's girlfriend. Rick Flag is a soldier, by the way. So she sends in this incredibly powerful and evil witch, and she actually turns on them and escapes. She teams up with her brother, who is an evil wizard, or like monster, demon, whatever, named Incubus. Now you may be wondering, what's their plan? Well, I have that right here. That's it. There's no other explanation. That is the last time that anything resembling a motive or a plan is ever brought up again. So they bring the squad together after Amanda Waller accidentally set the Enchantress out into the city, and they send them in to go rescue someone from the city. The card on my camera is full, so I'm just going to record the rest of the video on my laptop. So the squad's helicopter is shot down, and I get why they shot it down. It's to give them a reason for them to have to walk through the city rather than just fly to where they're going. But this isn't conveyed very well because we barely know what they're in the city to do, and they don't say where they're flying to. And after the helicopter crashes, they don't have a line where they're like, oh, now we have to walk through the city. So it just comes off like the helicopter crash is pointless. There it is. That's the conclusion to Slipknot's character. It's very clear that they only added Slipknot into this movie to kill him so the audience thinks that anyone can die at any point. But by making it so obvious that his only purpose is to die, you're actually doing the opposite. Because if you have to tack on a stupid character whose only apparent ability is that he can climb stuff, then you're clearly not willing to kill any important or even semi-important characters. At least not until they can die in a heroic way. So the squad encounters a big horde of the Enchantress's minions who look like rock zombies. They go to fight them and we get our first bad action scene. The problem with this scene is the choreography and the fact that there are no stakes. There are no stakes because they're not struggling at all. They hold their own perfectly fine. And if you're not going to have them struggle to defend themselves, then you should at least have some interesting choreography. But there isn't any. They're just standing still and then like shooting them or hitting them. Harley Quinn is a gymnast and she like bends over one time. Deadshot is this incredible marksman and he doesn't do any trick shots or anything. Captain Boomerang doesn't even throw a boomerang. Literally like 10 minutes later, we get another fight that is exactly the same as the first scene, literally beat for beat. So next they reveal to us that the person they're going into the city to rescue is Amanda Waller. I think this is supposed to be a twist, but it's a really bad one because they don't convey it clearly beforehand that they don't know who they're going to rescue. They mention that they're going to save someone maybe 1 or 2 times, but that's it. And it's not made clear enough that they don't know who they're saving. And because of that, instead of making you go, whoa, they were saving Amanda Waller the whole time, it makes you go, wait. They all go up to the roof so Amanda Waller can be taken out of the city, and the Joker appears in a helicopter. He takes Harley away, and Amanda Waller orders the helicopter to be shot down.
Boss, we got a problem!
Joker and Harley Quinn are no more.
I mean, am I supposed to think he's dead? He's had like 5 minutes of screen time in the entire DCEU, and I'm supposed to believe that you're just gonna kill him? 5 minutes after the last confusing and poorly set up twist, we get another. It's revealed to the squad that the Enchantress is the one behind what's happening in the city. The first problem with this is we know exactly what's going on, and they have an entire sequence explaining what happened with the Enchantress. But we know exactly what happened, so this is unnecessary. It makes it kind of confusing. The other problem is that they once again only have 1 or 2 lines where they set up that they don't know what's going on in the city, and after that they never bring it up again. And after they set it up, they also see those rock zombies, so they know that something weird is going on, and they barely question that aside from like 1 line of dialogue. All of the squad gives up and decides they don't care if their heads get blown up because something supernatural is going on. Once again, did the creatures made of rocks not tip you off? So after a few emotional moments and inspiring speeches, the squad decides to fight the Enchantress anyways. They go after her and El Diablo sacrifices himself to kill Enchantress's brother. After that, they all essentially fist fight the Enchantress, even though she could easily just kill them all. But whatever. Then there's this really awkward moment where Harley cuts out Enchantress's heart, which is the only way to kill her, and the Enchantress just stands there. She doesn't try to fight back, she doesn't like run away, she just stands there. So Rick Flag is about to kill the Enchantress, and she taunts him and says that he won't be able to do it, because if he kills her, June will die with her. Which was not set up. And neither was the dilemma of Rick Flag not being able to hurt Enchantress, because then he would hurt his girlfriend, which is something you would think they would set up, because he's one of the main characters, and he has a close relationship to the villain. But no, they barely even talk about his relationship with her up until now. It's not completely absent from the film, but it's not focused on nearly as much as it should be. Rick Flag kills the Enchantress by crushing her heart, but June Moon survives anyways. So they set up this dilemma that if you crush the heart, you kill the Enchantress, but you also kill June Moon, and then they immediately ignore it. They don't come up with a solution, they just ignore it. So they take the Suicide Squad back to jail, but now things aren't as bad because Killer Croc has a TV, Harley Quinn can drink coffee, and Will Smith gets to see his daughter like once a month. Yay.
Let's go home. I torture you. Take my hand.
That's the end. That was my Suicide Squad review. Was it worth the wait?
You notice these are criminals? They're psychotic, antisocial freaks. It makes no sense.
I torture you. Take my hand through the flame.
I'm beautiful.
Wait till you see the. No, 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 no. Ah, look at the top of his head.